Anyone else have any questions?
Thank you.
Well, Brad, thank you. We'll pick this up next Monday. Can you hear me, Brad?
Yes, sir, I do hear you. And just one last item to report to you all: if you wanted a question to go to voters on the November election, the City Council would have to consider an election resolution or at the early part of August, between August 6th and 18th. That decision would have to be made for the November election.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
great.
you. We'll talk to you Monday.
All right.
Stay
Bye
safe,
now.
my friend. All right, before we get into, I guess.
I'm sorry, was that August 6th through the 18th?
18th, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what he was saying was the council has to meet and call the actual election if that's what the council believes the community wants us to do between the 6th and 8th. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
I have a question, and this is just for clarity. The option that we discussed, that you discussed at length on Boucher, in my mind, that's not even a possibility on the table. And I'm just saying that because it's not our property. We don't know what the district will or will not do with regard to that property. And for us to proceed forth, I don't think that we can make the assumption at this point with this time frame that that's even a realistic possibility there. That's my
I think we would have to move fast because I think we have problems with the A building. There are definite problems with the A building that would lead me personally to believe that that might not be the most appropriate choice. And so we need to your point, we need to act extremely fast in understanding what needs to happen or what will happen with the West Lawn property. We don't own it currently, and so we do know who owns it. Perhaps we might, sooner rather than later, get that secured, to your point. To your point. Those were the only two options that they being the Public Safety Committee is presenting to us tonight. And so before we start to figure out how we are going to proceed, there were three of you good folks that have not had a chance to comment. I don't want to proceed without every member participating. If you want to, ladies first, Mr. Mishtich. Ms. Loftus, did you have anything that you would like to add? Ms. Pennington, did you have anything that you'd like to add? Can you say that to that microphone?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Thank you for that. Mr. Mishtich, did you have anything you want to add?
Yes, sir. Our last meeting, Mr. Long, thank you for the drawings and everything. You've done excellent work. I really appreciate it. Mr. Compion has brought up some valid ideas, and it would be good to see that, you know, what those costs will be, because we were kicking around things because you hadn't reached this point yet, and it was actually somewhere around $9 million just for the PD station, which was discussed. And, you know, our original option was a combined building at $15 million, and now we're up to $20 million for just the PD. And I think this is going to be a really tough pill to swallow and a hard sell on everybody. I do, if we were flush with cash and money, I do agree with you 100% about the design of the building and the need and the future proofing. 100% I do. But we've got to look at some costs. I'd like to see the other. I know we're up against a time frame, you know, but you know, we've been at this since January, and our previous city manager is gone, but you know, we had asked for some things and meetings got canceled, and and now we're down to the wire and trying to push it through. I do agree with Councilman Compion. We need to look further at it. I also agree with Councilman Lowry that we need every bit of it, what we need. But 20 million is tough to swallow. Do we have an update from EDC on the school district properties? They've been negotiating.
The council does not. We have not heard anything from the economic, but we have a member in the audience. Mr. Osteen is here with us. And actually, Mr. Compion is. He's here with us. So, do you have anything to add?
There's a joint meeting,
On
the council on July,
28th.
the 28th.
28th, I believe.
I know it's going to probably be discussed then, I would anticipate, but I personally don't have any information.
You don't have any updates?
No,
Mr. Osteen, do you have any updates as far as the pursuit of the property? Need a microphone, Mr. Osteen, I'm sorry. You need a microphone. Yeah, so the public can hear you, since you're on the EDC.
In executive session, and we can't talk about executive session on EDC. It's
Yeah.
public right now.
Yeah, and that's fine. I guess my question, yes or no, have y'all received any updates?
Any
From,
updates?
yes or no?
Not
Okay,
that I know of.
that's all I was asking. Thank you. Were you done, Mr. Misic? Okay. So again, we certainly thank Brad for participating. Mr. Long, we thank you for participating today. Public Safety Committee, we thank you for being here, present with us to help us to understand how we need to move forward. And I believe that we have action that they are recommending or asking us to take to move them forward. Council, sounds like what I heard is we need to understand whether or not we have the ability to secure West Lawn property. That would be the first thing we would have to find out. Secondly, we would have to look at all options on that property, different types of structures, different types of buildings, according to what we've discussed here today. And thirdly, we need to be able to reconsider the design at the Building A facility. In that order, I would say that would be the most appropriate order for us to move through. Does anybody have anything different? Is that what you?
Well, let me just ask, if on the Building A property, is also the option, kind of what Councilmember Yancey said, is to start from the beginning, destroy the building, or what's it, demolish the building, and then rebuild? Is that an option there?
We can do whatever you like.
Well, I'm just asking if that's something.
But I would say
That's something you said, right, would be ideal?
Yeah, you kind of,
Huh?
you just said.
I said I wouldn't use it,
To my point.
but sorry, you caught me off guard there. Buildings B and C, are they currently in use?
Yes.
Could they be moved?
I don't know if they could be.
Building.
Yeah.
So, to answer, oh dear. If we had the entire site, I would agree.
Oh.
If we can grade the entire site out and start with pure dirt there, that is a viable option. The reason why I say that is because the way Building A is kind of pigeonholed on the side, what we need is the site. I need more room, right? And so,
And that would, I see you, Mr. Lowry, but that would ultimately cost more than building a building right there on the West Lawn property.
yes, but you
Right.
already own the dirt.
I think you'd be surprised. There's two of the nationally known companies right here locally in Galveston County that actually lift and move buildings, and I think you'd be surprised at the cost. You know, you said we're 12 inches or 6 inches from base flood elevation. I mean, a cap on the floor of the concrete is a simple process. Putting the brick mortar on the outside, if we're going to do CMU block around the exterior, I mean, we got to be financially responsible. But there's two local companies that you could look into for moving that building across town or up 20 feet in the air. They've done apartment complexes, so that they're perfectly capable of doing anything you want to do with that building. probably cheaper than what it would cost to go buy the land from somewhere else. So there's something to look into.
So let's do this. Let's, did you want to join in? Go ahead, Ms. Fish, and then we're gonna try to bring this home.
Mr. Long, my brother-in-law's been in architecture business for 35 years, and he'd scream at me for suggesting this to you, but, you know, how about a hybrid as far as between parts of it modular?
I can't hear you. I can hear you.
Mr. You're gonna speak into the microphone,
A
Mr.
hybrid building as far as modular, part modular and part which you have designed.
Oh.
If there is a way of doing that, I don't know, and that makes it very difficult. That's why I made that statement. And the same thing could be said, you know, on the building A. And to Councilman Lowry's suggestion, maybe it's something that you authorize an RFP, request for pricing, for some of these companies. What would you charge us to do this? And that we get some actual costing on
To
this.
do which part?
To move.
To do which part?
For
Elevate or move.
raising or even tearing down.
Tearing or demolishing.
You know, let's get some hard costs out there, you know, what some of these contractors would actually charge. You know, and we could do the same thing preliminary with these designs. You know, it's not a true RFQ going out, it's just a request for pricing. Guys, tell me what you can do on this, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I got you. Let's counsel, let's try to do this, and Mr. Long, if we're not giving you what you need to get it done, help us, because we're trying. Let's try to do this. Let's try to say that we are going to look at let's move forward with the West Lawn property with the caveat that would have a hard conversation with the school district to see, are you going to sell us this or not? If so, what price, right? So we would have that factored in. And simultaneously, if we can, let's look at working with the council to try to move down this road of what would it look like to have buildings moved, how much would it cost? And then if we can get those questions answered, we will probably be able to give you more direction, if that makes sense, because we got two different things happening with both sites that we have to explore, because ultimately it's going to be a cost, it's going to be a price tag, and we need to get to the facility that we need for our community, functional, safe, something that we can be proud of at a cost that we can afford. And so there's still a little research that we have to do, but I believe we are getting closer. Council, does that sound fair, what I just said?
I think it does.
Very good.
We will also have our structural engineer go out and do a thorough review of the building. What we've done more often than not, because it's a pre-engineered metal building, to your point, Mr. Lowry, you can move anything. You just unbolt it and disassemble it and move it, right? Done lots of that. Public works facilities, oil rig facilities, they'll find an old building, literally unbolt it. The concrete pad's not the expensive part. There's no reason to jack it out of the ground. You just go put a new foundation in, right? And you rebuild things together. The underlying issue is, what is the retrofit cost to make that structure TDI and Class 1 compliant? That's really the issue, right? And because what I think you're going to find out, once you go out there and do a thorough structural review of the building, and you come back and say, hey, we need to add this much bracing, that's where the cost is going to be. I don't disagree at all. We could absolutely move it all day long. So I think let us go back and, before we go ask for pricing, let us go do our own internal analysis of what does it cost to actually make the building, compliant for a critical facility. That's the number that I think is going to drive the bus on the decision. Because the foundation, you can estimate that all day long. That's easy.
How long do you think that it will take you and the committee, or whoever is working on this, to get those two answers? If in fact we are on the city side, through the city manager's office, through whomever they choose, if we get those answers from TCISD, if we work to find the answers to moving the buildings and things of that nature, when would you need us back to make the decision?
So I will answer your question. One,
Okay.
I'll make sure, very salient point. The building a site is tiny. So before we go talk about making it bigger, there is I just can't get all the police cars on that site. We need to make sure we answer that before we go down this rabbit hole, right? So this is why I was saying, is it possible for whomever is occupying the building C and D building, there will be a perfectly acceptable bank down the street that's vacant by the time we flip? I apologize profusely.
And at the end of it, as we play moving cars and all of this thing, it's going to be of ultimate price.
Correct. So I would come back and say that the option we're really talking about, if we're really going to make building A work, we're going to go look at what is the cost to make it structurally sound to meet the current code. What does it cost to scrape the other two buildings, because we need the full site to make it work, right? To your point, sir, about modular versus not, what you make the jail modular, because everything else is an office building at that point, right? And we've done this. Hey, I have this building, but I'm going to put the jail over there, and I can move it. I can pick it up if I had to. We would go explore that, right? Ramtech does exactly this all day long. So timing-wise, do early August.
Okay.
First week in August.
Okay.
Part of that is because I'm going to be out of the country for 2 weeks, but we will get our staff out there to go look at it. But I think if we can get answers in the next 2 to 3 weeks by the end of July, I believe August 5th is the first Tuesday. And correct me, this body meets the first and third Monday or Tuesday?
Second and fourth. Monday.
Second and fourth. I'm so sorry. It's second and fourth.
Monday.
Monday. Perfect. Second Monday of the month we come back here.
And let's be clear. The main issue with the West Lawn property, as I'm listening, is that we don't own it yet. And so I don't think I think the reason, from what I'm hearing, I could be wrong. The reason that we're trying to have a plan B is because what if we can't make someone sell us property, right? So we have to have a plan B to move forward. But I'm hearing the main issue with West Lawn is that we don't own it yet. So I don't want us to get confused with what we're saying.
And
Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
your legal counsel has already left, and I'm going to caveat this statement with make sure you ask him. In your bond referendum, you're going to tell the voters what you're going to do. Not every, the referendum language does not necessarily have to be tied to a specific location. Something to consider.
Gotcha.
Make sure Gus reinforces that, maybe ask him.
Make sure.
And we've done this for other cities. I think the concern is that if you go out and say it's $23 million, doesn't matter what the taxes are, the answer is no, because there's a value proposition there that can't get passed. If indeed the consensus is that that's the number, then the last resort is to say, hey, look, we're going to spend X amount of money, whether that's going to be on this site or that site, that's the budget, and you don't have to spend all of it. To be considered.
Yeah. No, I got you. Did you want to?
Yes, Mayor, I
Go
would
ahead.
like to make a suggestion. I don't know if council will agree with this suggestion, but since time is of the essence, and I think that just listening to the committee, sometimes you're struggling to get some direction or at least feedback. I would like to suggest, without violating the charter or anything, that at least yourself and one other member of council, not myself, but one other member of council, be a contact point to throw off ideas or challenges that the committee members have or the chairperson, and so that we can kind of get this thing wrapped up.
Yeah, that's fine.
If it makes sense.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to feel.
No, we
that we're
can get a couple of our members to work with you and expedite this, because part of the problem is we have to call a meeting, and that takes 72 hours, and so it drags it out. And I think your suggestion is for speed, get through some of these things faster. And so I don't have a problem with doing that at all. Let's move toward a motion.
Mayor, Council.
I was going to also say, if parking is an issue for building A, like you said, you can unbolt the structure, you could lift it, then you could have columns holding the structure up, then parking could be underneath it too, so just something food for thought. They're utilizing the whole space.
Very good. Did you all understand what we're getting ready to direct you to do? Basically, we are going to, so that we're all clear, we are going to work with the EDC and Alex to press the school district to see if this is even a viable transaction, if they even want to sell the land. If that's true, we're going to report that back. Simultaneously, all of the issues with A as far as how we would be able to make that site doable. We need to get those issues together. The parts of that the city manager's office needs to flesh out with RFPs or whatever that looks like, they will move forward with that. So in a month's time, actually it probably will take longer than a month for the RFPs to come in because we're going to have to vote on that. We need to find a way to be able to explore what those costs would look like. Would you be able to do that, Alec?
Yeah, so go back one statement.
Okay.
Number one, council is going to go figure out is the land available or not.
That's our deal. Yeah,
That's your problem. My problem is to go look at building A and do the full structural analysis so we know what the cost is to reuse its structure, and we will make certain assumptions about relocating that structure on that same site and include that cost at a more detailed level when we represent. I don't believe we need RFPs. I don't believe moving it makes sense. We would just pour a new foundation and lift it up, because you're going to do that when you move it anyways, right? We can disassemble the building. So I don't think we need to do the RFP thing, because we'll go figure out the cost.
You'll have those costs. Okay.
I can get a cost that does the same thing in effect, right?
Okay.
And we'll come back with a site plan for building A that reutilizes the structure as it currently exists, with the cost associated with reusing that structure to drive maximum value.
That sounds good.
But does that include also including the B and C buildings for parking that you mentioned? You said you needed that.
We're going to make an
The
assumption.
assumption on that.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
We will come back with a fully functioning building A site with all the considerations that are necessary in order to enact that building.
Including, and this is important, you made this part of your last statement, including we have employees over there, and we would have to find a way to perhaps relocate them over to, in your words, the old bank building, which is the police station now. So all of that, the council, at the end of the day, we want to be able to see dollar figures on both sides.
Yep.
And that's really what's driving our decision-making process from our side. It sounds like.
And I want to caveat that these are order of magnitude, like this isn't down to the dollar, this isn't down to the penny. Ballpark, big picture, right?
Sure. We stipulate to that. We understand that.
Yeah, so I have my takeaway. My number 2 is come back with viable building A option with all the backup data necessary.
And a dollar figure, and then come back with your dollar figure for West Lawn, and somewhere in that, whether it be Mayor Pro Tem or former Councilmember Osteen, they're going to tell us, hopefully it might be even Alex Getty, come in to say, we've talked with the school district, they are or are not willing to sell, they are willing to sell, this is the figure they gave us, and then we'll be able to see it all clearly and go from there.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Said a lot.
And all of that on the second Monday in August.
Second Monday of August. Said a lot, council. I need a motion and a second so that we can give them official direction.
Well, since I'll make that motion.
You make that motion?
Motion that you've outlined.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Brad, thank you. Alec, thank you. Public Safety Committee, thank you. Council, thank you. Let's call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are passing executive session because there's nothing there. Actions taken from executive session. Council, unless you want to, I think we ought to move right past requests for announcements and move on to adjournment, unless somebody has something they want to announce. Anybody? Very good. Let's move now to adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.